Hello, everyone, and a very warm welcome. I'm truly delighted to be with you today. My name is Host Zaneem, and as a hotel AI expert, I get to see the future of our industry unfolding every single day. We're going to talk about something that is, without a doubt, going to be a massive part of your career: artificial intelligence. To all the students of the Europe Hotel School, it's an honor to guide you through this. Look, I get it. As you're starting out, your focus is on mastering the timeless fundamentals of great hospitality. But I'm here to tell you, understanding AI is going to be just as critical. It's an incredibly powerful tool, but that power comes with a huge amount of responsibility. And that's really what we're going to explore today: how to lead with technology ethically and responsibly. Okay, so here's what we've got on the agenda. First, we'll look at a serious risk with AI called bias. Then, we'll talk about the solution, which is something called AI governance. We'll also cover why it is absolutely essential to keep humans in control of the final decision. Then we'll get really practical with some ethical frameworks you can actually use. And finally, we'll tie it all together to see how this builds trust with your teams. All right, let's get right to it. First up, we've got to tackle a pretty significant challenge that AI brings to the table in hospitality. And that word is bias. And this is a really big deal, folks. It's something you've got to have on your radar from the very first day of your career. I want you to just pause and think about that for a second. Could a piece of software, an algorithm, be the reason you get passed over for a promotion you deserve? The scary part? The answer is absolutely yes. And that's precisely why we have to be so incredibly careful. This goes way beyond efficiency or the bottom line. We're talking about people's livelihoods, their careers. So, what exactly is algorithmic bias? Well, it's what happens when an AI system starts making unfair decisions that penalize certain groups of people. So imagine this: a hotel uses an AI to sort through job applications. But what if that AI was trained on data from years ago, when leadership roles were almost always filled by men? Well, the AI might learn to unfairly favor male candidates, even if they aren't the most qualified. And that right there is algorithmic bias in action. Now, as the next generation of leaders in this industry, you have a profound responsibility to ensure technology is used for good. And look, this isn't just about ticking boxes or following rules. It's about your core values. It's about doing the right thing and treating people with the same fairness and respect you'd want for yourself. That simple principle has to be the bedrock of every decision you make. So, how do we actually prevent this kind of bias? How do we fight back? Well, the answer lies in what we call AI governance. The easiest way to think about it is like a rule book or a set of guardrails that we build around the use of artificial intelligence to make sure it's being used responsibly. And let's be clear, this isn't some piece of software you just buy and install. An AI governance framework is a whole system of rules, regular audits, and clear processes that you build specifically for your organization. So, for instance, you might create a rule that says any new AI system must pass a rigorous bias test before it ever gets near a real hiring decision. That's AI governance in practice. Because at the end of the day, what is AI? It's just a tool. And just like any tool, it can build things up or it can cause harm. It's our job, it's your job as future leaders to make sure we're using it for good. The goal is always to have technology empower our people, never to control them. And I know that's the kind of leader each of you aspires to be. So the big question is, how do we make sure we keep people, our talented hoteliers, in control? That's exactly what this next section is all about. We're going to look at a couple of key principles that ensure technology always works for us, not the other way around. Okay, the first and maybe most important principle is what we call human in the loop. It's a fancy term for a really simple idea. A human being must always make the final call. The AI can analyze data, it can provide recommendations, sure, but it's you, the manager, who has to step in, look at the whole picture, use your judgment, and make the actual final decision. All right, our second key principle is algorithmic auditability. Yeah, I know, it's a bit of a mouthful, but it's an absolutely crucial idea. What it really means is that you have to be able to explain why the AI came to a certain conclusion. You have to be able to look under the hood. If you can't see the logic, if it's just a black box spitting out answers, that's a huge red flag. That's a dangerous place to be. Okay, so we've covered the big ideas, the principles. But how do you actually make this happen in a real hotel? Let's get practical. Let's look at how you take these principles and turn them into concrete actions. It really boils down to two fundamental steps. First, you've got to establish an AI ethics committee. You can think of them as your guardians, your internal watchdogs, making sure AI is used for good. And second, you need to set some very clear, very firm red lines. These are your non-negotiables, the lines in the sand that your organization will simply not cross. Now, this committee can't just be a bunch of tech people in a room. To do this right, it has to be diverse. Of course, you need your experts from HR, from legal, and from IT, but, and this is so important, you also need to bring in representatives from your employee groups, from the front desk, from housekeeping, from all departments. That's how you get the full picture and make sure everyone's voice is actually heard in the conversation. So what does a red line look like in practice? Here's a great example. A hotel might decide as a red line that while it's okay for AI to analyze facial expressions in a voluntary training simulation, it will never be used to do that for a formal performance review. See how clear that is? It's a simple rule everyone gets, and it sends a really powerful message that you're serious about using this technology ethically. And when you put all this in place, when you have a strong governance program with committees and red lines, something really important starts to happen. You build trust. When your staff knows you're committed to fairness, they stop seeing AI as a threat and start seeing it as a tool that can actually help them. This creates what we call a social contract. It's basically this understood agreement of trust between leadership and employees. It's a promise that technology will be used to support them, not to scrutinize them, that it will always be fair and transparent. And with that contract in place, wow, you unlock this amazing culture of trust and collaboration. Because when that trust is there, everything changes. Employees see AI as an ally, not an adversary. They'll start to embrace it as something that can help them be more creative, more efficient, and ultimately more successful in their own careers. And isn't that the kind of modern, forward-thinking workplace we all want to create? So, I'll leave you with this final thought as you prepare to go out and start your amazing careers. I want you to really ask yourself, what will be your red line? What are the ethical boundaries that you, as a leader, will refuse to cross with this technology? Remember, the future of hospitality is in your hands, and I have no doubt you're going to build a better, more ethical future with it.